This is a Triang R59. It's a 3MT 262 wheel formation, and when I got it, it had bad damage all down the left hand side. The drive gears were missing, the cylinder block was broken, the motion bracket was also broken, and there's a little story behind it. Hi there YouTubers, and welcome to another video from Source 6233, the Society for the Restoration of Trains. And this little 3MT came to me as a replacement for another item that I bid on. I won on eBay, didn't turn up, had a word with the seller. He sounded very apologetic. I was prepared to let it go, but he said, I have this other locomotive, it's not good enough to put on eBay, can I do something with it? And this is what he sent me. This is Triang R59 262 wheel arrangement, and its classed as a 3MT. And when it came to me, it had been damaged all down the right hand side. The cylinder block was broken, the motion bracket was broken, and all the drive gear was missing. So here we are. I've already stripped it down and had a look at it. Body wise, the main damage is this buffer bar at the rear, the chunk cut out of it, and obviously a missing buffer. But other than that, the front doesn't look too bad, and the rest of the body shell is in reasonable condition. The cylinder block obviously is needing replaced. I don't have even another bit I can glue on. The motion bracket I've took off to get a model for it. The pickup plate is good, so all I need now is a new set of drive gear. And here it is. Found this on eBay. 2 sets of drive gear, all complete, with a cylinder block here and spare front and rear ponies, but I don't need those right now. The only thing missing is the motion bracket. However, I've got one in order, so that should be here by the time I get round to fixing it. I need to, of course, strip down this, give it a good clean, check the wheels. The drive gear is looking in good condition, get it all lubricated, match it to the relevant front and rear driving wheels, and then we'll try and put it all back up together. When you're moving the drive gear from the centre drive wheel, make sure you know what order everything's coming from. First of all, I'm going to take out this screw which holds in this crankshaft, and it's arranged in such a way that this piece is at the top. So let's just remove the screw. When you remove the crankshaft, it has an oval slot to fit over the end of the spindle. Then it's followed by a spacer, which then sits onto the piston drive. There's a second spacer which holds the coin rod itself. So the assembly has got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 pieces all together, so make sure you know how they all go back. And it's the same on the other side. The other thing to bear in mind is which side is which. If you take the coin rod, look for the little pips, they should be up the way. So this here is going to be the right hand side, so that the drive, No, this will be the left hand side. Sorry, that is right. This is the right hand side. This will go here. This piston goes in there, so that when you come to assemble it, if this is up, this has to point towards the front, so you can just try and keep note of which side is which. So let's get this disassembled and into a cleaning fluid. Screw, crankshaft, spacer, drive shaft, spacer, coin rod. Before I start on the mechanism, I just want to explain. I've already stripped the motor down, it's an X04 style, and I'm just making sure that it's going to work before I do any more repairs. And it's only about 3 or 4 volts on that. It's running very nicely. So that's ready to go into the final chassis when we are ready to do that. I think we're just about ready for the big build. So I've got my 3 sets of drive wheels, 2 coin rods, 2 piston drives, and the 2 valve gears. I think they're called the wall charts, with the screw, the spacers for each side. Starting with the coin rod in the centre. Remember, these pips should be up the way. 1 spacer. Then it's the piston drive, 2nd spacer, and then the wall charts drive, and that has to sit over the oval pip at the end, so that the hinge is roughly over the centre of the wheel. So it goes in somewhere about there, and you can often feel it seating, and then hold it gently, insert the screw, insert the screw, balancing it while you bring the screwdriver into play, and that should all start to come together. There we go. When you tighten the screw, you do not tighten it right away. Just make sure it holds all the pieces. Make sure this part sits in properly. And just get in about there. And when it is tightened, this bit should be steady and these two should be free to swivel. So that doesn't look too bad. That will go over there. This will go up this way, and you do the same to the other side. Like so. When you're putting the drive wheels in, make sure that the insulating bush is on the same side for all 3 sets of wheels. You can just see the insulating bush there. When it comes to fitting the wheels into the chassis, the pickup plate has got a lead on it, and there is a little channel just here for the lead, which means that when this fits in, the pickup plates will be towards me, so the insulating bushes will be towards me when I fit the wheels in, which is this way here. So I'm just going to sit the wheels into the cradles with the bushes towards me, and then hopefully I ought to be able to insert the pins from the coin rod into the retaining holes. That one there and that one there. This one here has to come round and drop in. Come on, in you come. And when that's done, they should effectively, basically self-quarter. So that doesn't look too bad at all. So I'm just going to drop a little bit of oil into the axle bearings here, here, and here, and here. Finally, front two. Fitting the pickup plate, the lead through the chassis, contact arms behind the wheels. Make sure that sits in, that's good. And then I can put the retaining screws, which are in the little box. So there's the chassis up and running very freely. One thing I haven't done yet, so I'll just do it now, and that is at all of these points of rotation I'm just going to put in a little bit of light machine oil. I didn't actually do this during the during the cleaning process, so I'm just making up now. In here and finally in there. That's good. Okay, so let's move on to the next stage. When it comes to fitting the cylinder block, it's important to be very careful, because this is not held in with a screw. It's held in by these two clods that catch over this gap here, and it is actually a very tight fit. So I am going to be very careful here, and what I'm going to do is try and put a little bit of bending pressure on this to open those claws up just a little, and hope that I don't break it, because to be honest I don't have another spare. So here goes. Open it up and try and clip down at the same time. I might have a second go. And try and pull it down. Come on, baby. And nearly there. Final push, and that's it, clicked in. The hole in the top of the cylinder block is where the chassis retaining screw through the chimney will be fitted. At this point, I've come to realise that in order to fit the piston into cylinder block, I need to release this screw in the centre drive wheel to let me insert this bracket on the running frame. So, easily enough done. And if I do one of these again, hopefully I will remember that. So, fit the piston into the cylinder block. This shoulder should fit over the running rails, and in there line up the cylinder. I might need to twist this around, people, so if I lose camera I hope you will understand. Trying to line that up as well. Oh, come on. Let's try again. In there. On there. Round there. and in she goes. On the piston and on the guide rails, or running rails, and there we go. So I'll do the same to the other side and we'll come back and see what it looks like. And when I get the motion bracket, that'll fit in here, and this arm fits into a slot at the top of the cylinder block, and this end will fit into the motion bracket on both sides. And here we are, just 2 days later, through the post this morning, replica Triang motion bracket S5056. And these two look as if they've been 3D printed. They look pretty good. Why have I got two? I think you'll find out later on. Okay, so let's see if we can fit this motion bracket into my little 3MT. Sits on the top. There is a screw hole in these, and I know that some chassis have a retaining thread, but this one doesn't. It just sits in, so it places in there, fits very nicely. So I'm going to take this right hand side and let's rotate the wheels. Fits into the motion bracket and into a slot at the top of the cylinder block. Let's turn it round. We'll do the same. Rotate the wheels into the motion bracket and into a slot on the cylinder block. So let's see if this works. That doesn't look too bad at all. Both sides. So I think I'm going to get Tom's granddad's locomotive running again. So let me just get a little bit of fortification. Black, no sugar. Lovely. Right, there's the motor fitted in. Screw at the back. I haven't connected up the wires yet, but I ought to be able to apply my power to the terminals, and let's see if I can get this to run. And look at that. Now, I really don't know how long it's been since this little loco was able to run under its own power. I'm very pleased with it, and I hope you are as well. So what I'm going to do now is I'll connect up the wire from the pickup, put it onto the rolling road, and see if we can get this little baby to work. So are we ready for this? I'm applying a little bit of power because I have to overcome the connection between the rails and the rollers. Not always the best, but hey, look at that. Just make sure this doesn't push out because there's nothing to hold it in at the moment. But yes, that's going to look nice. Let me just take it down into the opposite direction. And again, this connection there. Probably not going to help. Come on. It's nearly there. Yep, nearly there. Come on. There we go. My fortification has worked wonders. Right. So I've now got this little 3MT into working condition, and just to recap at the moment, I have replaced both sets of drive gear, although only needed one. Replaced the cylinder block because it was broken, and the same with the motion bracket. The motor I just quite simply stripped down, lubricated, oil on the belt pads, did a Ronald Dodd on the magnet, and yeah, that's it so far. So with that in mind, I can now hopefully turn my attention onto the damage to the body shell. Well, this is the rear of the body shell for the 3MT, and before you start thinking, wow, what a wonderful job he's made of that, I should own up and say I cheated. This is a different body shell, but I had a couple of breaks in the front buffer this time, which I filled with Humbro model filler. So I'm just going to let that harden, then I'll smooth it down, and then we can paint it with some red buffer paint or buffer red paint. Okay, so rather than try to repair the broken rear of the original, I changed it for this. Well, the locomotive body has come back from the body shop. The repairs are painted over buffer red, and it doesn't look too bad if you don't look too closely. So I've now got a complete body shell for the 3MT, and now I'm going to start building the rest of the loco, and we'll get hopefully up and running again. Just a little thing before I build it all together, and that is I'm just going to fit a logo on the side of the locomotive. Yep, that way there. And these I think are sticky on logos, so I'm just going to try and remove the cover from the backing. I've been experimenting to see if this works, and it doesn't look too bad at the moment. Yep, slide this in here. And there we go. It's actually almost like die cut. So once you start to move it, it comes away from the backing like so. And just position it roughly where I want it. Make sure it's lined up reasonably well. Doesn't look too bad. So I'll finish the one on the other side. So again, it actually comes in the sheet. I didn't realise it actually would come out very well. So I'm just going to take my sharp knife, and once I make a start in here, it should start to lift. It lifts away from the backing. That's a good idea. Saves you having to use water slide. Make sure to get it right way up. Which is the non-upside down way, which I nearly had, and there we go. So our 3MT is starting to look pretty good. Right, here's the chassis. I've just held in the cylinder block with a temporary screw till I'm ready to fix a chimney screw. And that will hold in the drive gear. When the body goes on top, it holds it in there. So I'm just going to fit now the leading and trailing trucks. There's the screws in there. I forgot to put the screws in. So get the right screwdriver. Help. There we go. Oops. I'd actually forgotten I'd left these in, and then I went and searched for a couple more. If only had realised how efficient I'd been. Anyway, in it goes. You might notice these are the, I think, probably Mark 1 bogies with the old Hornby double hooks, coupling hooks. So it's as near to its original state as I can probably get it. There it goes there. Oil, I should have put some grease in there actually. In there onto the pivot. Yeah. Okay, so I'm now going to sort of build this up. I'm going to fit this on and then we'll see it running, hopefully. Right, I'm ready to start putting this thing together now. I'll just bring this over a wee bit. I had to replace the cylinder block and the motion bracket and one side of the drive gear. I'll tell you more about that once I've got it up and running. So the body fits over the rear here. There's a couple of wee pins that fit into some rectangular slots. That should go in there. That should fit down here. That should just sit nicely in there. And hopefully this chimney screw sink all the way down, catch with the receiving hole. Sounds good. There we have a 3MT, and that's our running, looking quite nice. It's a bit noisy, probably because of the brass gearing, and there's still a lot of rust on this con rod here, but I think it gives it a bit of character. It's got the original Hornby double couplings. Still have to fit buffer front here, but other than that, it's now a working 3MT. I replaced the cylinder block, I replaced the motion bracket, I replaced all of this side of the drive gear, all missing. I actually repaired the body shell too with a bit of repair to the replacement in the front here. But now it's actually looking fairly decent for anyone wanting perhaps an older looking layout. If I had a double O gauge layout, this is the one I'd be having on it. I prefer the older machines. So I'm glad we've got it going. Quick reminder of the story. I ordered from eBay. It was actually a TT Junti body. Didn't cost much, didn't turn up, contacted seller, very apologetic about it. I wasn't going to give him negative feedback over something of that worth, but he said, well look, in that case, I've got something else maybe you'd like, and he sent me this from his granddad's collection. Obviously the state it was in, it probably is heading for the bin, so I'm glad I was able to kind of restore it to a working condition. What will I do with it now? Well, I've got two options depending how it goes. I'm going to contact the seller and let him know and offering it back if he wants it as a rental, or if he says no, keep it, then I'll put it on eBay or whatever, and whatever money you get, he can have that for a charity of his own choosing. Okay. Right, well, I hope you enjoyed that. I certainly did. It's taken me a while. I mean, we're talking a couple of months since the very first frame of this video to now. But I've enjoyed it, enjoyed the different challenges that come up. And I hope you did too, and if you did, perhaps comment below. If you liked it, please give me a thumbs up. If you don't, tell me why. If you haven't already subscribed for more model train repairs, then you can click the subscribe button and do all the things that everybody tells you to do. But most of all, if you enjoyed it, that's all that matters to me. So take care everybody, take care of yourself, take care of each other, and for me, it's bye for now.